What is up, everybody? This is Lyle with No Hippie Trucking and Transportation, and I am just sitting at home for my last few days and everything. Had a chance to skim through some comments, and there's one comment that I just kind of wanted to touch on real quick. And the comment that was made was, "Prime is modern day slavery." Now, I just kind of wanted to touch on that comment just a little bit. I'm sure it's going to be kind of a ramble, maybe even a rant. I'm not exactly sure where this is going to go, but I'm going to have to kind of agree and disagree with that statement. So if the statement was made like this: Prime is like modern day slavery, they have so much freight, I don't have a chance to relax, or something like that, then I might tend to agree. Sometimes I do feel like those loads come across too soon. There's plenty of times when I'd like to relax that I just don't have a chance to, because that next load is popping right up before I have a chance to really get my chill on. So in that case, I might tend to agree. Now, if it's more the literal case, like Prime is like slavery, like real slavery, I'll have to disagree with that comment. You know, slavery is when you're working by no choice of your own. So everybody that's working at Prime, regardless if you've been there a day or 25, 35 years, however long people are staying there, you have a choice to go somewhere else if you feel like you are being treated like a slave with Prime. Here's kind of what I took out of the situation, though, because I have felt like I was, not necessarily like I felt like I was working for a company that, you know, was like slavery or something, but I have felt in bondage before, and that bondage was created by myself. So let me tell you a story, and hopefully some of you younger people can kind of learn from this. But back in the days, this is like 1994, I've been selling cars for about 4 years, and the money was really good, but I just did not like the job. At the time, you know, I was like somewhere in my mid-20s. I was probably making anywhere between probably 50 and 65, 70, probably $65,000 a year. Good money for somebody in their early teens. The problem is, which is one of those things that I say about everything, it's not how much money you make, it's what you do with the money. And I did what damn near every other, middle 20s person did. Went and blew it on a bunch of dumb shit. I was probably buying 2 different cars a year, just putting money on credit cards and spending money like I thought it was gonna rot. So what happened was, I had got my life into a position where when I wanted to leave that business, I couldn't leave that business. I felt like I was trapped in that business, because being 25 years old with really no formal education behind you, you're kind of trapped at what kind of money you're going to be making. So fortunately, I was able to get things in a position where I was able to make that move. And I had this is kind of a little side note, I had sold a car to this lady kind of years prior, and she'd been trying to get me into banking, and she was like saying, you're gonna start off low, but you have a high ceiling and all this kind of stuff. And I was just not in a position to take that pay cut. That job at the time was only going to be paying somewhere around $35,000 a year, something like that. Well, finally, maturity caught up with me, and I got into a position where I was able to pay some things off, basically put things in line to where I could live on $35,000 a year, and was finally able to make that transition into a different career. Now, I can see how people in trucking can find their way into a position where they feel like they're trapped. It may not be slavery, but they may not feel like they have other options, whether it be another trucking company or even something outside of the business. So any of you guys that are listening, young people, stuff like that, please listen to this, because I met a lot of people selling cars that had a lot of different advice. Not as much as when I was in the mortgage business, but I think it resonated a little bit more down the road, because a lot of the stuff that people were telling me, I was too young to actually grasp onto it at the time. One of the things that somebody told me was basically the stuff that I'm kind of trying to talk about now. No debt, save money, all this different kind of stuff. A little bit more specific than that. And at the time, and this was really early on, I thought this might have been like 92 or something like that. At the time, I really didn't think about it, got trapped in the business and all this kind of stuff. And, it really wasn't until years later that kind of resonated with me. And I still probably think about this guy at least once a month. And this is damn near 30 years later. So if you're feeling trapped because you're feeling like you don't have any other options, you know what? Get yourself in a position where you have all the options. Whether that be other trucking companies, other careers, or just whatever. I can see how the trucking industry can trap people. I mean, you do come in here, for the most part, you make a really good living, and, if we just keep it honest, a lot of people that are getting into the trucking industry are sort of like I was when I was selling cars. You're making money in a career that may only be the only career that you're going to be able to make that kind of money in. My thing is, get yourself in a position where you don't need to live on all that money. I could damn near probably live on that $35,000, maybe not be able to save anything or do anything like that, but I could damn near live on that right now. So if you're young and you're listening to this, please don't define yourself on what kind of cars you drive, what kind of clothes you wear, what kind of alcohol you drink. Man, there was a time I was so damn stupid. I had a wine rack full of like every different kind of expensive wine and scotch you could name. No other reason other than because I thought that was going to make me look like something I wasn't. So, listen, everybody's talking about living the high life. Live the low life. Don't get trapped. If you feel like you're at any place, any company, or anything that you're doing, and it makes you feel like you're in modern day slavery, my advice is, listen, have the guts to get out of that situation. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I guess that's really all I gotta say, is have the guts to get out of the situation. Me personally, like I said, I feel like I'm being overly compensated for my work at Prime. They do tend to send loads a little bit more than I'd want sometimes. Sometimes I like that little bit of a break. So maybe, I feel like I'm on that plantation just a little bit. You drop that load and then, you think, okay, I'm about to get 3 hours to relax, and that next load comes over like 10 minutes before, or you get it before you even dropped it off. And you really don't feel like driving. You know what? I get it from that standpoint. But the actual slavery part, you might want to use a better choice of words before you start throwing around slavery on my ass. Anyway, still living Prime, and guess what? Still haven't put out my referral code. I keep hearing different people saying, oh, the only reason that, this is a totally different thing, the only reason that Prime drivers are doing videos is so they could get money on referrals. I'm gonna do a standalone video on this, but this is just a teaser on this. The only reason Prime drivers are doing this is so they can make money on referrals and all this kind of stuff. I have not once put up my referral code, and I said I was gonna do it after I was there a year, because I do feel like I need to earn the right to do that. I did have somebody, and if he's watching, appreciate it. He did go out of his way to get my referral code, but listen, it was nothing that I was out there promoting or anything like that. And again, even if every Prime driver is out there doing it and they're doing it for the referrals, the only people that I see that are complaining about somebody making too much money is people that ain't making no money. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for stopping by No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. I appreciate it. Comment, subscribe, and I'm out.